Hello and thank you all for watching. This is Manny Sunny Sun for a energy forecast for the month of October. And before we start, let's take a deep breath for a few seconds. A transformation at the speed of light. This is exactly where we are now as individuals and as a collective. This month's the current topics for you is noted. How many things can you put out in a day, in 1 week or in a month? This may lead many of you, especially after the intensity of last summer, a month of October that will require for you to take a little more space and be a little more quiet. You'll probably want to sleep and rest more than normally would. Some of you may find exercise, physical routines intense and need to reduce a notch or two in order to be able to learn to balance all that is powering through your system without shaking you even more. The field of energy, the energy power of the planet is in evolution and is in constant change, which means that the sensitivity becomes higher. Those of you who have passed by the awakening of deep sensitivity notice the sudden change. You become suddenly much more open. You sense and feel things much more quickly. This is happening more and more for everyone across the planet. Now, these changes seem not always by what you might call spiritual, but I would say that spirituality and the art of spiritual people do not seem as always very spiritual to them either, especially if we try to label them as very bright or rare, always in peace or forever loving, because we are all human. And as a humanity, we are always moving through any problem during our evolution here on Earth. So relying more on peace and calmness with these changes of lightning speed, which may amplify this sensitivity. Some of you will find that they might need much more quieter surroundings. In addition to that, we have more rest and sleep because the level of the volume of everything around you is much higher. Some of you will be aware that you need to calm things down while you get used to everything that is happening around. Put loving limits in and farms. As for people that I've just mentioned, girls seem like a bachelor spiritual to them. Remember that there is an intensity for conflict and liberation of energy that is produced for many people on the planet. If you are more than sensitive, what happened is that the energy is pure energy through moving through your system, and that pure energy level affects your mind and your emotions. That is why people get a little more in daily life of humanity. They are more readily reactive, more easily irritated, more easily, or emotions are easily at them. So these problems can go with certain people in your life. There were where you need to set limits, loving and firm. There is no need for you to undergo repetitive and abusive behavior for another person. The power is to be in your heart. In general, you can try to remember as much as possible to stay in your heart. This will make it easier for you and for others in drama or conflicts when you are asked. And if you cannot be in your heart right now, know that you're not doing anything wrong and real inconvenient for all of us, because it does not when we are trained. We were trained to be individuals with very assertive opinion, be very focused mentally. And you who came down here with very large sensitivity, you have found your way through your healing. You are now in a space where you are ready to practice even more vulnerability, more openness, and more communication that is honest. These times are wonderful and very favorable for all of us. So release in doing these quote-unquote things, and not be surprised if you're left, either left or right. Something comes from you from the past, and you play along with that. It isn't accelerating through time, and it's a very multi-dimensional energy. It's time to rediscover that. When we agree to open this portal of multi-dimensional ways, and when we argue by this energy of force of the universal life, it could be sometimes chaotic at times. Therefore, one of the biggest things that you can remember is that there is no get it right. So if any of you here need much of the things like yoga, practice, as you must well do these things with a partner or whatever, a person in your same path, or whoever would need this. try them. Try out these concepts of what is right. It is only a perspective. You do not need to think what is right or wrong when you are usually able to live in your heart, because our heart always wants to give where the gift can be received and where the human body has the energies to support this donation. Recalibrating for those of us who are between major donors. That's why those of you who have constantly given could be a little panic right now. You may have more desire to give everyone all the time, and it's fantastic. That's exactly where you should be for a certain period of time. But do not worry, this too shall pass, and it will look at things, giving you a lot, as much as you want in the future. But you'll have to do it having a better idea of which of your needs you support and you give, and with discernment that allows you to choose wisely where you can give your energy, and the view is multiplied tenfold. The multidimensional love and multiple speed. When you open more to yourself in a multidimensional way, it returns to a way to be linear and maybe quite annoying. It might seem a little boring to try to make more linear conversations, especially to have a more linear life. You are focused on one thing at a time. So those of you who's open to multidimensionality and examining perhaps the aspects of them, for example, by giving always injury to the bones and strength, and manifesting in a measurement that is at the present. So you might be learning to say, well, I've given a great capacity to really give, and I will value and honor that. But at the same time, I will always recognize that I have not always valued my ability to give, or that I did not always could I have seen in me. I'm facing now that same injury, that is to always give. It manifests with that friend who pulls my chain because I do give even more. So then, what did I do before that? And it hit me at first, and it hurts me. He said, "Why do you not do more than what you were doing before? You're not a very nice person." In such words, you know what that feels like, and it's something in your body, like a blow in your belly. And it's not to blame others. Instead, try asking yourself, how sensitive are you to the touch of others? Seek to understand and notice your feedback internally very quickly, and it will bring you back to the present. This is because these reactions are part of the past. They cannot come in this life. Well, they can be a injury coming from your generational line. But in any case, everything is going now at high speed. The mental linear practice was to follow everything that happens. The habits have lots of time to think, to digest, and to say there are 3 months. I've had this large rise of consciousness, and it's working still. Now, as it is 3 hours spent, and as if you already forgotten what it was, because you don't have not taken the time at all to follow, and that's okay. Read on that point of the heart, and have a read on that. To close the loop here, the extraordinary energy reaches you. Remember, to practice to be in the heart, there's no good or evil in the disagreement of human conflict. What are the prospects? That you can find yourself with a transformational relation, problems with others. This could be the key to help you change things from the past, or to change the way you feel about yourself in the present. That comes and can reflect new parts of you, the parties that could not highlight or celebrate you. With all this, there will also be having to do an extraordinary amount of energy that will circulate in you, and for which you have a roadmap, because they are new. You're like a child who learns to walk, and while this happens, it is so sometimes a bit chaotic, disruptive, and that is okay. You're new. So release the codependence of old ideals. In your new energy, it's a great opportunity for those of you who think that they must always be somehow going to stop doing it. Because if you remain dependent on this idea, you help to maintain the other in codependence of ideas, limiting who they are. In other words, they are limited to what they are because you brace yourself for who you are. When it feels the urge to make changes in a way you communicate, which you present in what you are doing, perspective healing and soothing. It is possible that you are a little focused, because the whole beginning, I told you to slow down thing and be more calm thing, to speak in an acceleration speed of all the details that have happened inside of you, and around you. What I want to address is that this video for this purpose is a multi-dimensional layers of everything that has an impact on all that surrounds you at this moment. So if you have a feeling of going a little bit crazy, you can say, oh, I've become crazy. I've not become crazy. That's the way everything happens quickly. And it has shown me how how I've become sensitive. So remember, you can always close that door. You can close the door and find yourself in a space, in a room, in an environment where you are for a while. And you have a problem with that because you don't have not that kind of possibilities. Here's a way to close the door. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Breathe in deeply, as I mentioned before, where we put our limits before. In the midst of people, and there's a feeling of stimulation. Say you were going to the bathroom toilet, and not because you needed to use it, but it was more of the time to withdraw from the group and go into a place where supposedly you'd be alone and do a self-check. You ask yourself, how do I feel now, where it is that I am? Oh, I'm excited, or my blood sugar is low, or although this angry man begins to bother me and I think it just needs to get away from me for a while. At the present, have more than you ever did. These regular checks in yourself. So if you're in a train, in a meeting with friends, your family, or elsewhere, take a deep breath, check inside. How is my inner world doing? Oh, it's chaotic? Okay, so should I not have a stimulation this time, or should I calm down? Ironically, we are in a world that offers us overstimulation, outdoors than ever. But I think it's perfect because these peacemakers outdoor shows us how the energy of everything has changed here on this planet. And this can also bring peace for the beauty of nature.